Hey guys, NoZoupForYou here, and we are going to talk about the Fletcher today. As you all recall, I said that I was going to grind through the USN destroyer line. Actually, I've already completed that. I am currently on the gearing, and I am enjoying it immensely. But before I get to that little review, we're going to talk about the Fletcher. Now, if many of you might have recalled, I didn't have too many fond things to say about the Benson. And I actually got a lot of flack from the not-so-nice things that I said about the Benson. I just want to remind you that this is not, like, the gospel on these destroyers. This is my own just self-reflection on me grinding the line, me just what I felt going through the line, how I did with the ship. So Benson, I didn't do that great with. Actually, one of you all said that because of what I said about the Benson and what I thought about the Benson, I have no right to talk about any other destroyers. I find that kind of funny, but that's cool. That's cool. That's your opinion. Just like me saying I didn't enjoy the Benson was my opinion. I didn't have fun in it. But through this little self-reflection and this looking inward, I've discovered why I didn't like the Benson at all. The reason I didn't like the Benson was, back in closed beta, the first destroyers I played were the IJN destroyers, and those are torpedo boats through and through. The Benson is not a torpedo boat. I could outrun the torpedoes that the Benson flings. I'm not a fan of the Benson because of that. I like my destroyers to be torpedo boats, and the Benson is the furthest thing from a torpedo boat. So that's really why I didn't like the Benson. Personally, I've got nothing against it. And I know a lot of people really, really love the ship. I know a lot of people really, really, really do good in the ship. And that's awesome. I'm happy for you. And, overall, I think the Benson is a decent ship for other players, not for myself. So that's just my personal feelings on the Benson. Again, I said in my little review, or whatever the hell you want to call it, I didn't do good in it because of my playstyle. My playstyle is completely different, and watch this coming up right here. This is like mad torpedo beats. This is absolutely insane. I don't know how I survived this, but right here's one of the reasons I love the Fletcher. I love the Fletcher's torpedoes. Absolutely love them. This cabbie is gone. I'm gonna put on the afterburners and just thread the needle right here. I feel bad for my poor Des Moines buddy right there. He's just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But that right there, this exemplifies why I love the Fletcher. The Fletcher is just a very slender. It's a beautiful destroyer for one thing, and I've actually visited one of these. I visited the Cass and Young up in Boston, and I got to see it firsthand. Honestly, this game does not do justice to how big destroyers actually are in real life. We see them zipping around in this game, just kind of flying around, all nice and small, but that is not the case. In real life, they were actually pretty big, the length of a football field, and we just don't get that here. But yes, going back to the Fletcher, I loved the Fletcher grind. For the most part, I played it at a Unicum level, with the exception of probably the first 10 games when I was stuck with those god-awful Benson torpedoes that I hate so much. And the last 10 games kind of wrecked it as well. That I was divisioning up and had been drinking a little bit, so my play was kind of suboptimal. But that is not the ship's fault. That is user error right there. For the most part, I played very, very well in the Fletcher. And this is one of the games that I did fairly well in. This was a loss, though, but I had absolute fun. And the Fletcher, let me tell you right now, the Fletcher is one of them. Man, I'm just having issues with this gearing right now. My HE is bouncing, not doing anything, and finally get him with a fire right there. How funny is that? I pelt him with 12 HE rounds that do nothing, and finally get him with the fire. I was like, what in the world? But no, the Fletcher just, it's one of the few ships out there that it doesn't matter how I do in the round or how the round winds up. I can win, I can lose, draws don't happen anymore, but I always enjoy playing the Fletcher. Always enjoy the rounds in the Fletcher. It's just an absolute blast to play the Fletcher. So I'm going to kind of go over right now my preferred captain skill loadout for the Fletcher, and kind of go over why I like this particular loadout. And actually, I just moved this captain over to my gearing. I find they're perfectly suitable for each other. So, started with priority target. Everybody goes with priority target. I find it really, really helpful in destroyers because you're really able to determine after you've been spotted whether or not you really, really got to worry. Kind of saves you from having to blow a smoke every now and then. Kind of saves you from having to use your speed boost if you're using that. Obviously, on the Fletcher, I've got it set up for a semi-AA spec, so I don't really use speed on the Fletcher. And then we're going to get the solo cap. I just don't find I need it. I find the AA much more valuable on the Fletcher than speed boost, so that's just my preference, though. Also on that, I've got the one captain skill maintenance module. One of the preventative maintenance, one of the things you got to worry about on the Fletcher is you don't want your torpedo tubes to go out. And I find that I've had my torpedo tubes go out much more than my guns have gone out. And the Fletcher is a torpedo boat through and through. It reminds me of old school IJN destroyers. Back when the Minakaze was the terror of the seas, the Fletcher really reminds me of that. So that's why I go with that. Of course, we all know what you take at that 2-point skill. You don't want your engines going dead, and you want to keep going. So that's a no-brainer right there. Now, the majority of my other captain skill points are in the 3-point skill range. I've got BFT. Again, just the kind of AA spec. I didn't go for AFT, I didn't go for the 4-point skill because I don't find the extra gun range is that much of a utility for this ship. I use Torpedo Armament Expert, and the reason for that is with the torpedoes on this ship, my whole goal was getting them down as low as possible on the reload. I wanted fast reload because, like I said again, I played this thing like a torpedo boat. For me, guns were secondary on this thing. And don't get me wrong, it has great guns. I've melted ships with these guns. I like the guns on this ship, which, is odd because they're pretty much Benson guns, and I had a hard time with the Benson and couldn't play it like a gunboat. But for me, the guns are secondary. I find this, for me, to be a torpedo boat through and through. So that's why I picked that. And then the last one, the last 3-point skill, I went ahead and boosted the HP on this ship. You've probably noticed down in the bottom left, it's sitting at 20,250. The reason I did this was it gives this ship so much more survivability in a knife fight. If you're dueling with other destroyers, having that extra HP is huge. Especially since you're tier 9. I mean, you're looking at some, 4,000 extra hit points. Almost 4,000 hit points. I don't know. I'm not that great at math. But you feel me, right? You get extra hit points, and it helps you in those knife fights. And not only that, you can take a torp hit a lot easier, too. If you happen to get unlucky and, a torp from another destroyer hits you, you can keep on fighting. And that's the good thing about these. I just kind of missed this Yamato right here. You got a little lucky there. But that's cool. It's alright. I'm going to keep going on my merry way. I really don't know why I launched this smoke right now. I think I might have thought there were more teammates around, but obviously there weren't. Me, myself, personally, I like providing smoke for my team, and that is the role of a USN destroyer. You have ungodly smoke. It lasts a long time, and it lays a nice thick cloud of smoke, so that's the other good thing about the Fletcher. You got the smoke, you got the AA. Alright, so we were talking about the extra hit points. That captain skill is really good. And this Yamato makes a mistake right here. He's going to ground himself, which doesn't work out too well for him. But, yeah, having those extra hit points are just a boon in this ship. So I use that on the Fletcher, and I also decided to use that on gearing as well. And, the gearing's not as slender as the Fletcher. I consider the gearing to be a pregnant Fletcher. And then, of course, your 4-point captain skill, you've got your concealment expert. And again, no surprise there. That with the concealment module gets you down to 5.8 kilometers, which is actually quite spectacular. I mean, 5.8 kilometers, that's one of the best concealment ranges in the game for destroyers. Very much why I feel it's like the old school IJN ships. You know, you've just got that phenomenal concealment, and Yamato here is done. Goodbye. You know, old school IJN destroyer concealment. You know, I think the Minakaze, what was it, like 5 kilometers, 5.1 back in the day. Obviously, you're not that stealthy, but you're stealthy enough for tier 8, 9, and 10 ships to battle against them. Really, really just unfair. You know, you can see me here just kind of hunting this Iowa, sneaking in on him with my torpedoes, and I'm just going to hound him ruthlessly for the next little while here. So, module-wise, yeah, for the second module slot, I've got the anti-aircraft boost. You know, again, I've got this semi-AA spec. The BFT helps with it a little bit. You know, while I don't really want to rely on AA here, it's good in a pinch. It's good if you have to defend yourself from enemy fighters, or if you're screening battleships, you have the chance to defend them as well. And this guy got, I don't know if I was a little ahead of him, I might have been. He slowed down, I think. Yeah, that's what happened. He slowed down. And he's going to eat 2 right here, which, you know, he's thinking now. He knows I'm out here. He knows I'm out here, and I'm going to have to get back to B at some point, but it's currently occupied. I think that was my mindset here. I was going to take care of the Iowa, then I was going to head in and take care of the Bismarck, which, you know, in theory would have been a very, very good plan. And Iowa's making a mistake here by going to chase me. A couple other things that I took module-wise. I took the boost to propulsion, and the reason for that is if you're sitting in smoke and you get caught by enemy torpedoes, being able to get up to speed, you know, in half the time really, really helps get out of the way of a torpedo spread. It can be the difference between life and death. So that's why I take that. And in that second module slot, I take Torpedo Tube Mod 3. Reason for that, again, it's all about the torpedoes on this ship. You have phenomenal torpedoes that are very, very fast. You know, 66 knots, 10 kilometers. These things can do nasty things to enemy ships, especially because you have a really, really good reload speed on these. And I just want to do everything I can to get the reload going faster on these, just so I can, you know, get those torps out. Torp spam. I mean, I hate to say that, but torp spamming is not a bad thing to do with this ship. I mean, it's almost like the torps were made for that here. So you see another hit on that Iowa, and I'm slowly making my way back to B. Ever so slowly. So that's my preferred loadout on this ship, both captain skill-wise and module-wise, and for me it has really, really worked well. And I've got the flood on this Iowa. This poor thing, you know, he's been trying to go after me. I don't think he's spotted me, but maybe once, if even. So my plan right now is to go hide behind B and take care of this Bismarck as the Iowa slowly sinks. And, you know, I'm going to fire my first torps off of this thing. However, things don't go according to plan, but it gives me a chance to highlight something else that is very, very good against the Fletcher. And the guns, the AP on the guns up close will work in a pinch. And, you know, I'm going to smoke here just so I can take care of this Iowa, so I can finish him off. I'm in the cap, trying to cap B. You know, at this point I thought my team still had somewhat of a chance, and these guns probably aren't going to finish this Iowa off as quickly as I had hoped, so I'm going to dispatch him with some more torps. Got the solo cap there. Very, very nice. B is mine. I'm feeling pretty good right now. Feeling pretty high on the horse. And this is where things go bad. Very, very bad. But again, the Fletcher, this is a testament to the Fletcher and how good of a ship the Fletcher is that I'm able to do what I did coming up here. And this Iowa is in panic mode. He's trying to get out of here, and it's not going to work out for him. So, goodbye, Mr. Iowa. Get him with one torp there, and he floods out. And I'm feeling pretty good right now. I know that Bismarck's closing in. I know I've got my torps ready. And this is where the bottom falls out on me. You know, surprise. Detected, of course, because he's so close. He's got his hydro and everything else. But no, it's this Otago right here. This Otago popped up out of nowhere, wrecked my plans, but I'm going to switch to AP here, and I'm just going to peg away at him. And up close, the AP is very, very effective. You can see 3 hits there. You can see 6 citadels there, and I'm going to take care of him. Kraken Unleashed would have been fine if not for the Minotaur, which he had me. So that is that. But Fletcher, guys, absolutely love it. Enjoyed the grind immensely. I am out.